All right, I'm going to delete this here. I'm actually going to move these over here as well. And I'm going to make this heart a little bit bigger. And what we're going to do now is I want to arch some type over the top of this heart. Maybe we'll condense it a little bit. Not the best heart, but it's okay. All right, so let's turn off our guides as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just start with a ellipse. Okay, so I can just kind of draw an ellipse, and you can kind of see where that arc is. We can adjust this later, of course, but I'm just going to start with that. I'm going to change this to a stroke so I can just still kind of see my heart. So I've made this an ellipse. Now I can draw now with my type on a path tool. So I can click this, and now it will, as we click next to the path, and notice it converted that to a line of type. And what that type is going to do is it's going to scale around that path. So if I wanted to type in love will tear us apart, and you'll notice here when I select the type on that path, we have a couple of things happening. You'll notice, you wonder, why isn't it centered? It's kind of this goofy font too, so I'm going to sample and change the font. But the first thing that's happening is it's left or right aligned versus left aligned or centered. You'll notice the center point now is at this point, and for some reason it's upside down. So when I zoom in here, this is our center point here, and some of that is just where I clicked. But you can see when I drag over here, I can kind of move that center point around. And this gets a little bit unruly because you can move the type on the top of the path or the bottom of the path. You hold down shift and it will kind of constrain some of those proportions. But a lot of times what I will do is just try to get it vertical here, and you'll notice that it's got the guide. And sometimes I'll actually have to rotate it, but that's usually pretty quick. So I'll explain these bars here in a second. But you can see now I have this type on the top. So I'm going to actually change the type to a, let's go back to that myriad. Not black condensed. Helps to spell it right. So that will work. So you can see now that I can put arch type. So now I can select this and increase the point size or decrease it. And that changes how it spreads out around that arch. We can also select the arch and we can move it. So you can see that I have this ellipse, and that will make it bigger, and I could move it smaller if I needed to do that. You can see right now that this is kind of a gentle arch. If I grab this and move it in, you can see that it makes it a little bit more severe arch. But you'll notice what happened there is it altered the vertical and horizontal scale of the type. So anytime I move that arch after, or the shape after on that path, I will go back in here and make sure that both are at 100%, both the vertical and horizontal scale, so it looks better that way. Okay. Maybe we should change this type to Heartbreaker. So I like that a little bit more. Okay, so that's how we can type or use type on a path. And a lot of times I'm typing on circles and squares, and or arches. Probably most common on arches and circles. So you can kind of see how that works. Oops, I typed actually in that. I want to change that to the type on the path tool. So you can see how that works. And a lot of times if I wanted another option, I would actually cut, sort of copy and paste, and then use my direct selection tool and grab this little bar here. And you'll notice that now I have another piece of type, and I can scale that down here like so. And now I have this other type, so we can read both of it. This was one other one that I didn't explain before, but I'll show you what this is. This is called a baseline shift. So I can shift the baseline, which is on the inside of this path, to the outside. And that is this baseline shift option here. You can see I can move it up or down. And you'll notice that we can get it right on. Now that also kind of alters the tracking. So a lot of times we have to bring the tracking in on that piece of type, or in some cases maybe we want to make it bigger. Change the type. So now we have how that works. And again, that's a shift and option. We'll move your baseline shift there. So, and then if I select both of those and align them vertically and horizontally, they'll both be the same. So that could be like a circle. And we'll drag the heart in here and scale it. Again, we'll vertically align everything here, horizontal. So you can see how that works in terms of the type. But those are very common writing on a path. We'll show you one more option in one more video.